This is the Shedding Zone.
Yo, what's good everybody out there on YouTube? This is your man Stick, dropping some hot frog on this mic. I actually previously recorded this video, but some of the information I got was not wrong, but you know, I just felt like I could have presented it in a better way. I didn't have gameplay, but I really wanted to do this video, so you know, tell me if you enjoy the format. If you would like the video back in the old format, you know, tell me. Or if you like a mixture of both, because I'm going to be trying to have some gameplay and, you know, trailers and stuff up during the video. So just tell me how you enjoyed it. If you don't like it, tell me. But anyways, we got some news regarding Sonic Boom. Now, I'm not necessarily late to know this. It's just like I'm late to upload on this. But I feel like I should talk about it anyways because I'm a Sonic channel, you know, or, you know, I love Sonic, and I felt like, you know, a lot of people on my channel here are sub for Sonic, and I wanted to present this news to them. While we do know, like, some of Sonic Boom stuff, you know, that Sega had a part in terms of just, you know, not really helping Big Red Button port the stuff over to the Wii U, because we know it wasn't originally intended to be on the Wii U in terms of Rise of Lyric. It was originally intended to be on Steam and, you know, then ported over later, which this article does tell you. There's a lot more here, and it's a lot, you know, there's a lot more that we know behind this story, and a lot of the reasons why the game came out the way it did was actually because of Sonic and Sega team. Because one of the main reasons the story is the way it is because of the fact that Sega and Sonic teams stepped in and said, hey, you can't do certain things. Like Sonic team just changed really design elements, and Sega, you know, since they were making the Sonic Boom TV show, they told the guys over at Big Red Button, they were like, these guys, yeah, they're gonna tell you what to do now. Like the people writing the TV show, from what this article says, which is, I'm reading the TSSZ article, but it has a Sonic Paradise article, which I will link in the description also above this because it asked for me to do so. This, you know, this news concerning, you know, Sega telling the TV show people, he was like, oh yeah, change the story. First of all, there was supposed to be a lot more to do with, you know, these beings called Ancients. Second of all, Knuckles wasn't dumb. You know, while I do like Boom Knuckles, you know, I'm talking about in the TV show, you know, the decision to make him dumb wasn't necessarily the best thing to do in terms of the games, because you can't do much with him then. But, you know, that was one of the main decisions. It was also decided to change, you know, the origin story, because they were going to have an origin story in this game for Sonic and Eggman, and how Eggman came to be, and how Sonic came to be enemies with Eggman. You know, basically Eggman went back in time and he changed something, and Sonic and him weren't friends anymore. I think this would have played well into the story, but the excuse that Sega, not even Sega, Sonic team gave for them to force them to change the story was the fact that, hey guys, you know, we're gonna make an origin story, and they have yet to do so. So I'm just like, why would you deny someone that? This wasn't even probably going to be considered canon by the fans, but just a really good spin-off game. And I think that had we had at least a good story, the game would have held up more, but not even the story was good, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of people hate this game. Is like it's so weak in the story department, and we were getting so much hype around it, and just to know that it was changed by the Sonic Boom TV, you know, staff, just makes me angry on the inside, because Big Red Button now has that on their reputation. They made Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric, but the reason it came out the way it did was not their fault. On top of that, they were made the port, you know, the game to Wii U, I think mid 2013 or 2012, I forgot, over to the Wii U, and a lot of things were just not working on the Wii U, especially because of time constraints and the system's capabilities. If you guys don't know, I'll have this video, the GreenHamGaming's video. He makes a very good video on this, on how strong the Wii U actually is. You know, and it wasn't necessarily the GPU portion of the Wii U holding it back, but I'm pretty sure that's one of the factors, because it's running a 5000 series AMD GPU. So that's not that's not anything, you know, to go home running about, as a very low amount of RAM. And on top of having a very low amount of RAM, it has a CPU that's, you know, from 97, or based off of a Power PC architecture from 97. Now there are Power PC, you know, CPUs from recent that are actually relatively strong from what I know. You know, because GreenHamGaming says it's like hey, power PC, you know, CPUs are still used. They're using servers and stuff now, and they're actually really strong. They actually could have went from something from a few years back and been really well off with the Wii U, but they didn't. They went from something from like the 90s, I think from 97. It's disgusting, actually. But that's, you know, not necessarily a Nintendo fault in terms of the development of Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric. That is still a Sega thing, because Sega decided last minute that this was going to be their third game for the Wii U, which I think is just that destroys the entirety of the game. I'm pretty sure they knew the Wii U's limits, and they knew that the Wii U wasn't able to push this game to its full capability, considering it was running on CryEngine, and CryEngine just does not natively work with the Wii U. CryEngine is a very demanding engine, and for it to run on the Wii U is just, that's asking for way too much. But, you know, Sonic Boom started development October 11th, you know, under the name Project Apollo, and was changed to Blackout, you know, Project Blackout, I think. And looking at some of this stuff is really interesting. You get to see previous designs of Eggman's, you know, in his form, you know, before he was friends with Sonic, which I think is really cool. Or, I mean, when he was friends with Sonic, you know, in the origin story. And they have just unused, you know, versions of Eggman, which I thought was pretty cool. You seeing game concept art is, you know, something that I think I really appreciate, because you get to see the thought process of the developers during the development phase. And seeing what the feel they were trying to go for, which was something cartoony, but, you know, kind of like darker in tone, if you understand what I mean. Because it says here that, you know, they were going for a cartoony look. Like a lot of the, if you remember, a lot of the textures, you know, you could see the fur coming off of the characters. And while not everyone liked that, I thought it was pretty cool. You know, it was a step in, I think, in a unique direction. They were gonna try to make, you know, the black line things, you know, a lot of games do to make the game look cartoony, but the Wii U couldn't handle that. The Wii U could not handle that, and that's very disappointing. They also, Sega and Sonic Team forced them to change the gameplay from, you know, about 80% exploration, 20% speed, to way more speed and less exploration, which I don't think is a good thing. If you've been working so much on one factor such as exploration and then forcing the switch over to speed, that's not very smart. That's not very smart to change the game's core element, you know, its gameplay, and force it in a different direction. While yes, I understand, you know, maybe they're like, oh, maybe you can add some more speed sections. No, they wanted more speed and less exploration, which I think, you know, a lot of fans have been asking for exploration. I know a lot of adventure fans have, and I actually have a video coming out soon, which, you know, is about, you know, not necessarily needing an Adventure 3, but it's still that, you know, you gotta acknowledge the fans in some form or fashion. On top of that, we do know that there was originally supposed to be 4-player co-op, which got reduced to 2 players, because again, the Wii U was just too weak. I don't know what Sega was thinking. You know, you see an engine that's not natively compatible with the Wii U, which is already a weak system. Yes, we know Sonic Team got Lost World to be 60 frames per second on that thing, and that's fine, but the game isn't super, you know, it doesn't have high graphical fidelity, is what I'm trying to say. Basically, it's not something that's, you know, hyper detailed. It looks nice, yes, but it's not a hyper detailed game, whereas what Boom was trying to go for was a more detailed game and a more detailed look on the Sonic universe. On top of that, they were trying to make the game, you know, more organic, which is, it says this in the article, they wanted the game to have that jungle type feel, you know, to feel as if you're in a world that Sonic would be in, which I really do have to respect Big Red Button for doing. They were trying their best, because Sega, Sonic Team stepped in and forced this entire change of direction. The game was just wound up terrible. You also have a lot of gameplay elements that were removed due to the Wii U's limitations, like it says right here, rappelling, you know, rock climbing, using friends as a slingshot, water skiing, you know, diving into the water. They actually forced them to take Sonic and the team swimming out of the game, because they wanted to be more like Legacy Sonic and not, you know, their own type of Sonic. Which, what was the point of you asking this development team to make this game? What was the point? I don't understand the ideology of having another, you know, team develop the game, you know, to make it feel like something different. Now, I can understand you have, you know, some outlines just like, hey, can we, you know, make them a little bit more like Legacy Sonic? Yeah, I understand, but they were just, you know, Big Red Button wanted to make something that was like Jak and Daxter, but with Sonic, and, you know, to the degree it technically is that, but at the same time, it's not anything profound. It doesn't make it so it doesn't set itself apart, because it couldn't. It didn't have the chance to. The development team did not have the chance to do that. They also had, like, you know, Wii U gamepad stuff planned in mind, because they were like, all right, we're switching to the Wii U. They wanted to be able to build, you know, bridges and stuff with the gamepad, but again, they couldn't do that because of time constraints. You can't just expect a team to take a game and do an entire 180 with it, you know, in just about a year and a half, 2 years, you know, not even in 2 years, just about a year and a half after they've been working so long to make this game something that's different than what you're trying to force them to make it to. On top of that, you know, one thing that makes me really angry is they even changed the name because they were like, hey, we wanted to make this branding, so, you know, it's part of the Sonic Boom verse now. You know, that's what irritates me. They made this game specifically for branding. If it was not Big Red Button, but Sega was just like, oh, this is a good opportunity to make branding, and that like it just annoys me, because you see how, like, these big publishers treat developers. Like take for instance Activision and Bungie. Like, Bungie makes Destiny, and Destiny, you know, after all the DLC is a great game, but because it's an Activision, you know, game, you know, it's published under Activision just tells them, hey, you got to release this as DLC. Bungie really has no say in what they can do in that, because again, they're the publisher, and this upsets me to see this. It upsets me to see this. This is uploaded, you know, on Sonic Paradise, this article by Moto Bagnet, so make sure you go check that article out. You know, any modern, you know, browser that has a translator built in, you know, will translate the page for you if you want to see more there. I also have the TSSZ article down in the description, so if you want to just get a summarized version, which I just gave you, just make sure you go and look at that, because I think it's really eye-opening to how bad it got, because we've all known how Sega can be in terms of just the way it treats its IPs, especially Sonic over the years. You know, we've seen ups and downs with Sonic, especially with games like 06 and, you know, as of recent Sonic Boom, Rise of Lyric. I can't fathom how a company does this. This is worse than like some of the stuff Nintendo does. Nintendo at least cares about its IPs, and, you know, they care about their fans, you know, enough. Now Sega in recent years, you know, in the past 3 or 4 years has changed. I mean, not even the past 3 or 4 years, say about the past 2 to 3 years has really seen that, hey, we should really, you know, take care of our fans, and that's what they've been doing. My phone just went off. I'm so sorry. You know, we have Nintendo really cares for the fans, and I think Sega has taken note of that in, you know, a certain light. Now, Nintendo doesn't always do things that's helpful to their fans, but in recent years, Sega themselves have actually been taking things into their own hands with the fans. Actually been helping fan projects such as Big's Big Fishing Adventure 3. You should go check out that game. That game's gonna be the best Sonic game of all time. I'm telling you right here, you know. Just make sure you go check it out. But on the real though, guys, like, Sega in recent years has come a long way. Like, in the past 2 years, Sega has come a long way from what it did back then. So I really have to give kudos to you, Sega. Hats off to you, my guys. So y'all really come a long way from this. Now, are they still like this? We don't know. We don't know if they're still like this on the inside, but it seems like, you know, they're doing a lot better from what they recently were. And they actually acknowledged that Sonic Boom was a bad game. You know, I think on the Sonic Twitter, they were like, when Sonic Boom Fire and Ice was coming out, they were even like, don't worry, this one's a good one, like the last one. So I get what Sega's doing nowadays. They're actually listening to fans. Give your opinions down in the comment section below. If you didn't think otherwise, you know, tell me. Just, you know, it's free to open. Just it's open the debate. You can talk about it down in the comment section. So this has been your man Shadixstick. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Share this out with your friends, and we're out of here. Peace. Kiss kiss.